The boy who danced through broken bones. Sometimes destiny whispers, sometimes it screams, and sometimes it lets you fall so low that the only way back up is to dance. This is the story of a boy who should never have stood on his feet again. A boy who survived a crash that stole his future, and then survived the laughter of children who believed he did not belong. A story about a mother whose voice rose above every insult, about a teacher who hid her heart behind ice, and about a boy who turned pain into art. Listen closely, because this story might change how you see weakness and strength. The night in Tangier. My name is Elian Navarro. I was 9 when my uncle took me on a drive through Tangier. Warm Moroccan air brushing our faces, sea winds weaving salty threads into our hair. We laughed. Then came the scream of metal, a flash of glass, darkness. I survived. My uncle didn't. My leg was damaged, nearly ruined. The doctor said, he will walk, but not like other children. Dance is impossible. My mother didn't cry in front of me, but I heard her at night. Her grief sounded like rain without a sky. A year later, she led me to a school of dance. I remember whispering, "Why?" She answered, "Because even broken wings can learn to fly." I didn't believe her, not then. Madame Corbelin. She was my first teacher, a woman of stone and iron. Madame Corbelin. The first day, I slipped. My knee buckled. Kids laughed. She pointed sharply. "Up. Get up! Can't you hold yourself?" The floor trembled beneath me. I tried. I really tried. I fell again. "What is that on your leg? Take off your tights." "No," I said, "take them off." The room froze. My fingers trembled. Then the doors burst open. My mother, fierce, steady, unshakable. "Madame Corbelin, are you in your right mind? And who are you?" "The woman who brought her son here so you would teach him. He fell, and he will rise by himself." "Yes, but humiliation is not teaching. Children laugh, and you let them. Is that your idea of education? You disgrace your profession. A disgrace." Silence. Everyone stared. I lowered my gaze, ashamed of my leg, ashamed of existing. My mother placed her hand on my shoulder. "He earned his place here, because he survived. That is strength enough." Madame Corbelin scanned me. Her voice dropped. "Very well, he may stay, but I do not promise kindness, only work." There was no escaping her. She saw everything, every weakness, every flicker of courage. Years of pain. Years passed. First came the whispers, the snickers, cripple. Then came silence, the kind that meant they didn't care anymore. I trained. I stretched. My legs screamed. I kept dancing. Day after day, I lifted my arms like she taught, fought through the spasms, stayed late. Sometimes I crumbled. Sometimes I wanted to run. But Corbelin never raised me up. She only said, "If you fall and stay there, you tell the world you are done. Stand. Show them you have something to say." So I stood, every time. First victory. By 15, I was no longer the weakest. My body obeyed me, even when it trembled. At a regional competition, I stepped onto the stage, the lights warm as breath on my skin. I danced as though speaking with the voice of my uncle, as though my mother were holding me upright, as though Corbelin were carving light into my spine. The applause came in waves, wild, loud. I had won. Corbelin approached. "Bravo. Well done." Her greatest praise spent in 2 simple words. Then she whispered, "Tonight you danced for me. Tomorrow, dance for yourself." A bigger world. At 17, I left for Milan, the world capital of elegance and music. Corbelin wrote my recommendation. Cold, precise, brutally honest. They accepted me. There, I met Aurelia Voss, the girl who danced as if she could hear the heartbeat of the universe. She said dance was freedom. I said dance was discipline. She laughed. "Then I'll be your wind and you will be my anchor." We became partners. Then, more. We rehearsed until dawn, spun through empty pausas, shared pastries by the canal, argued, laughed until we cried. I thought life was perfect. Then a letter arrived. The goodbye, in a delicate, slanted hand. "Farewell, little fox. I am leaving. Dance always, even when it hurts. MC. Madame Corbelline had left the school. No explanations. I later learned she was terribly ill. She had kept it a secret, even from my mother. I returned home, but I was late. She was gone. Her funeral was small, quiet, like she had wanted. I stood at her grave, a soft hill on the edge of town. For the first time in years, my knees gave way. I fell. My mother lifted me. "Don't cry," she said gently. "She gave you everything. Now it's your turn." The triumph. A year later, I was invited to join a world touring company. I danced in London, Tokyo, Buenos Aires, but nothing compared to New York. Before my debut at the Metropolitan Opera House, I found her note in my old costume pocket: "Dance for yourself." When the curtain rose, I breathed once. Then, I flew. For my uncle, for my mother, for Aurelia, for Corbelline. The theater shook with applause. People stood, cried. That night, I was no longer the boy who fell. I was the dancer who rose. They said, "He does not dance with his feet. He dances with his soul." Love blossoms. I proposed to Aurelia on a rooftop above Manhattan. City lights wrapped around us like constellations. She cried, laughed, said yes. We opened our own dance school, naming it La Maison Corbelline, Corbelline's house, for the woman who taught me to fly with a broken wing. Children came to us with crooked steps, quiet voices, hidden wounds. They left with music in their bones. We taught them what life had taught us. Dance is not about the body, it is about the heart. One last dance. Years later, I returned to Tangier. I climbed the hill to Corbelline's resting place. Placing flowers, I whispered, "You were harsh, but you gave me wings." I played the music she once made me fear, and danced, just for her. Slow, soft, full of gratitude. The wind brushed my cheeks as though she answered, "Bravo, well done." And I smiled. Ending. We all fall, but what matters is what we do after. I fell many times, on stage, in life. I rose because my mother once said, "Even broken wings can fly," and Corbelline told me, "Dance for yourself." Now, when my students fall, I don't scold them. I simply say, "Get up, you have something to say." And they rise, because they know I once stood exactly where they are, and one day, one of them will rise higher than I ever did, because someone once believed in a boy who couldn't stand straight. And that is how a broken child became a legend.